Hello, you lovely ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mengs, and today I am finally making the long-awaited video checking out Tiny Wars. A lot of you guys have been requesting this. I'm sorry it took me so long to get around to doing it. In case you guys don't know what Tiny Wars is, it's essentially Days of Ruin by web. It's a site where you can go and play Advanced Wars, Days of Ruin against other human opponents. In my opinion, this site is a lot better than Advanced Wars by web. Like, it's way better made. Like, look at how professional it looks. It has sound effects and everything. The community is obviously a lot smaller, but it does have a decent amount of active competitive players. A ladder, a global league, just like in Advanced Wars by web, so you can head over there and sign up for it. It does have to be translated from Chinese, I think, but like, as you can see, like, it's very well translated. I don't have any issues navigating the site at all. So if you want to go check it out, I'll throw a link to it in the video description. So Deejus recently challenged me to a match on the site. He's been doing a lot of replay commentaries, playing Days of Ruin. Looks like he's having a lot of fun with it. And I understand why, because this competitive Days of Ruin is a lot of fun to play. It's actually a really good game. It's very different from Advanced Wars. I mean, it's familiar because you have many of the same units, but there's so many different terrain types and the COs work vastly differently. So today I am going to be showing you guys a replay of a game that I played against Deejus yesterday. And I love the sound effects. I love how you can search for replays just by putting in player nickname like this. The site is just so much better. I'm sorry to say I don't want to crap on Advanced Wars by web, but man, this site is so well made. I can't get over how good it is. So yeah, me and Deejus, we played on a Fog of War map called Crazy Eights, and it was a very enjoyable match. I specifically requested a Fog of War match because I love the Fog of War mechanics in Days of Ruin. So yeah, here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Boosh. I'm personally going to zoom in a little bit. I just find that it gives me a better overview of the battle, so I'm gonna be doing this. Even though it means I have to like drag the map up and down a little bit, I don't know. Like, I could zoom out and show you guys the whole map like this, but I just find that it's so small. I don't know. I just like being able to look at things in a little bit more closer detail. So yeah, this is Crazy 8, a very crazy, and no pun intended, Fog of War map. As I said, the Fog of War mechanics of Days of Ruin are very different to that of Advanced Wars by web. Every single city on the map hides your units, similar to a forest. So it's a big deal to reach a city first with an infantry to cap it, because it means that your opponent has to scout it out with another infantry before they get to interrupt it, which is a big deal. And that works for every single property, by the way, including your HQ, everything. You also have these like ruin tiles, which you can also hide units in. They're not as good as cities because they only give 1 defense. Cities give 2 defense in this game, by the way, not 3. So ruins are essentially just bad woods. Like, woods give 3 defense stars in Days of Ruin. So again, there's a lot of different things you got to keep in mind. The rules are changed around a little bit. It's still a familiar game to play if you played a lot of Advanced Wars, but there are definitely big differences that you have to take into account. You have these comm towers right here. Comm towers in Days of Ruin actually gives you 5% firepower and defense, not 10% firepower. So they actually cancel each other out. So as long as each player takes 1 comm tower, you should be good. But as you can see, this map is very small. Like, the battle will take place in the middle here very quickly, so you have to be very careful. Enemies will reinforce a lot faster than you might think on this map. I was also not aware of this at first, but these are actually shoals. You can actually walk over these and capture the airport. And you may also notice there's 2 different airports on this map. This is a temporary airport. Capturing this doesn't give you squat, okay? Doesn't give you income. You can't build air units on it. It just allows you to repair units. You can also build these if you build a rig in this game's version of the APC. There's so many different changes. So just don't do like me. I captured this airport immediately because I was like, oh, I want to build air units. So this was like my first real competitive Days of Ruin match. So be nice with me, okay? Now let's go into the CO selection here. I'm guessing, judging by the thumbnail and the description of this video, a lot of you guys are going to be like, oh, you played against Colder? Isn't he like super broken? Well, Tiny Wars actually balances their COs, not by a lot. Most COs are the same, but Colder has been heavily nerfed. In the base game, he has like a 50% firepower and defense bonus on his CO zone. His CO zone is like 4 or 5 tiles wide. It's like insane. And he heals 5 HP every turn. It's like he's absolutely unstoppable. No one can touch him. On Tiny Wars, they cut his powers in half, so his CO zone grants 25% firepower and defense, and it only heals 2 HP every turn. So he is a lot more grounded on Tiny Wars. He's still a very scary CO to go up against, but he's not as scary. And I'm, of course, playing as my lovely little cool Rose, Tabitha. I think she works exactly the same on Tiny Wars. Yeah, she only gets her CO zone affecting her CO unit, so only single unit, but that unit gets a whopping 60% bonus to firepower and defense, 80% if you count the fact that the unit that she boards ranks up to level 3. So normally you'd think, my god, 80% defense, you can't kill that. Well, in Days of Ruin, the defense calculation is a little bit different. Firepower actually counteracts defense in this game, so if someone has 80% extra firepower, it actually cancels out the 80% defense, so it doesn't stack the same way it does in Advanced Wars 2. It's a little bit more balanced. But yeah. So, yeah, crazy map, Crazy 8. Tabitha versus Colder. Should be a pretty entertaining match. So let's get going. Now, on this website, for whatever reason, you have to let the replay autoplay if you want to get the full experience. But you can set in a like a built-in delay in between each turn, and I found that 700 kind of works for me. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get started. Boosh. And yes, it even plays the themes. So, because I'm zooming in, I'm gonna have to like drag the mouse down a little bit. Hope you guys don't mind. So yeah, here you see my first mistake. I go for the temporary airport because I'm an absolute idiot. Because I'm like, oh, well, it's an airport. I guess I should capture it. Oh. So yeah, Deejus does not do that. He's played a couple games already. He knows not to capture temporary airports. So one thing that I find very entertaining about Days of Ruin, and one thing that I find very interesting about Days of Ruin, is the fact that you have 3 different types of infantry units instead of just 2. You have infantry and then you have bikes. For the first few turns, me and Deejus are just going to build infantry because it's all we can afford. But you can also build bikes, which are faster infantry. And one thing that I always found very interesting in Days of Ruin is like knowing when to build bikes and knowing when to build infantry, because bikes cost 2,500, infantry costs 1,500 in this game. So bikes, I think they have 5 move. Otherwise, I think they're similar to infantry combat-wise. So it's tempting to build bikes because they can reach the center faster and capture properties faster. But infantry are cheaper, so this is one of the things that makes the early game of Days of Ruin very interesting, because like when do you build infantry and when do you build bikes? This is a decision you have to make, and it completely changes up the capture chain as well. Now, I will pause the game from time to time just to analyze what's going on here. I've taken the harbor. I'm also sending 2 infantry towards here to take these 2 properties. Just keep in mind, like, I don't know I can get the airport yet. This is why I move my infantry like this. I think these are water tiles, and I think I have to capture this airport to build a transport to get this airport. That's legitimately how I thought this map was, until I realized it's like, oh, I can actually walk over the shoals. Yeah, of course, these are shoals. They don't look like shoals. I think the Advanced Wars by Web shoals look a lot more like shoals than these things do. And I think the presence of these mist tiles also confuses it further, but hey, you know, what can I say? There we go. So here I built my first bike. As you can see, they're very fast. Yeah, they have 5 move. They are slowed down by woods and wasteland though. So they're not as mobile as the infantry. They also can't enter mountains, so you can't put them in mountains. But they are pretty strong units. I mean, 5 movement as opposed to the infantry's 3 means that they are able to reach properties a lot faster. So I do like bikes. I think they're a very interesting unit. So meanwhile, Deejus, let's see what he's doing right here. He's going for these 2 properties as well. And already sending out his first bike. He's probably going to go and grab this com tower early on. So already, Deejus gonna get his com tower before I get mine, I think. Yeah, I'm also sending on my bike. Bike allows me to instantly capture this property, which is pretty nice. And now I realize I can capture the airport, so I'm like, oh, okay, alright, I guess I can get it now. So, I do believe, yes. So, I decide to open up Flare. Flares are a hilarious unit in Days of Ruin. I really like them a lot. So, flares are reconnaissance units. They can fight, actually. They have guns. They actually do decent damage against infantry, kind of like recons, but you can shoot out a flare, which reveals Fog of War. and this is incredibly useful because it allows you to scout properties and whatnot. Now, I think opening Flare may have been a little bit ambitious, but I just wanted to try it out. So again, keep in mind, this is like my first real competitive Advanced Wars Days of Ruin match, so I'm going to make a lot of basic mistakes here. But I just wanted to try and have some fun with this unit, so I think Deejus is going to be a lot more tanky in the early game here. So yeah, he grabs the airport, grabs the city, he's also capturing the comm tower now. So his capture chains are already a lot better than mine. And what is he? Yes, he opens up tank. So I open up Flare, he opens up tank. That could be a little scary for sure. So here I start capturing my my comm tower. I grab this city right here, send up my bike. Keep in mind, this is a hiding place. These are ruins, so you can hide your units here. My idea is to put the Flare in this ruin right here, so that I can hide it and shoot out flares to reveal Deejus. Of course, flares will run out of ammo fairly quick. They only have 3 shots, and that's like every time they shoot out a flare, they lose an ammo. So ideally, you want to keep flares in cities where they can be constantly resupplied. Otherwise, you're going to have to pull them back at some point. But yeah, move my flare down here. Grab my airport finally, like an idiot. Capturing my temporary airport first, what an absolute noob. And I too open up a tank right here. So the idea here is to put Tabata into a tank. This is I was contemplating maybe putting her inside a recon and trying to harass Deejus early on, but he can just shut that down with the tanks. I don't really see the point in that. So instead, I open up tank. The idea is I'm gonna put Tabata into the tank and harass Deejus pretty heavily with an 80% firepower and defense tank in the middle here. Anyway, let's see what Deejus decides to do. So he gets supplied, finishes capping his comm tower, and yeah, loads his CO unit into the tank. So here, you can see the CO unit in action. His CO unit is 2 tiles wide. It can grow up to 4 tiles wide. Actually, no, not colder, because he doesn't have a CO power. Any CO that has a CO power, not every CO has a CO power in Days of Ruin, but every CO who does have a CO power can grow their zone by an additional 2 tiles by taking engagements inside this zone right here. So any unit that's inside this zone gets a 25% bonus to their firepower and defense. It's a very strong zone. I don't get this. My CO unit only affects the CO itself. Or my zone only affects the CO unit itself, so Deejus definitely want to take advantage of the zone. Not only that, it also resupplies. It will cost him funds though, so he needs to be careful. It will drain his funds, so he can mess up his build order. But let's see what it decides to do. This HQ also allows you to board in your CO unit, and you will see Deejus takes great advantage of this later on. So here we go. I load in my CO unit, move Tabata down. Probably should have moved her over here, honestly, and I get trapped. But now I do have my flare in position. And I also start capturing this city right here. So this flare is sitting pretty comfortably here. It allows me to, I think the flare has a range of, let's see, I think it can shoot out the flare up to 4 tiles, I think. And it affects like a missile-sized area, similar to the CO zone right here. It allows you to reveal, so it's a very strong unit. And this tank right here, if I can attack Deejus' CO unit, that's really good. If your CO unit is killed, then your CO just retreats, and you have to wait a full turn before you can board the CO into another unit. Or you don't have to wait a full turn, you have to wait until the next turn. If you lose your CO unit, then you can't board it in the same turn you lost it. You have to wait until the next turn to load it in. So whoever manages to kill the opposing player's CO unit is usually at a pretty big advantage. You also lose any power charge that you might have had. And yeah, I build an anti-air immediately because, as you can see, these airports are very forward right here. And I realized that since I'm capturing my airport, it means that Deejus is probably capturing his as well. As you can see, battlecopters are going to be able to reinforce very early here. So I thought getting out an anti-air here was absolutely essential. So, alright, Deejus' turn rolls in. He starts capping the properties on his left side, and yeah, in comes the CO unit immediately, and as you can see, it deals a tremendous amount of damage. However, he did also place himself, he placed himself exactly out of range of my CO unit, which was very annoying. If I had moved my CO unit here instead, what I could have done is I could have moved Tabata onto the city and struck his CO unit. So I was kind of sad about this. I was like, oh man, kind of wish I hadn't done that. If I just put it here instead, I would have been in a much better position. And of course, Deejus also guards his own unit like this. So, yeah, I was a little bit upset about that. And also keep in mind, he's also keeping his bike within his CO zone, meaning that like, this now has 25% additional defense in addition to the 20% defense it gets from the cities. I don't think I can actually kill this in 2 shots, so very smart by Deejus here. He realizes that if I get to kill the unit, then I probably have a CO unit that can come and take the shot. However, you'll see something very strange happening on my turn. Right, so my turn rolls in, and so there we go. So what happened here? So first I used the flare to reveal the city and to reveal the units around here. And then I attacked with my tank. Now, I was very shocked because the combat forecasts told me that I would be doing 150% damage to this unit. So I was like, okay, 150% damage, that's an insta-kill. But then I only dealt 9 HP of damage to it. It turns out that power calculations do not show CO zones, even if you can see the CO unit. And this kind of makes sense, because otherwise you'd be able to tell that the unit is within a CO zone. But you have to be wary of this. The game actually lies to you. It shows you 150% damage, but it doesn't factor in the 25% defense gain from the CO zone. I both like and hate this at the same time, because 1, I don't like it when the game is just straight out dishonest with me, but I also understand, like 2, I also understand that you don't want to reveal the CO zone to the player. But in my opinion, if you can spot the CO unit, the enemy CO unit, I think that it should tell you the exact calculations. Because this really messed me up. I was going to one-shot this and move forward with my infantry to capture the city. But now I'm not able to do that, and that really annoyed me, so now instead I have to let Deejus actually attack me. Now down here I am taking some infantry engagement, maybe a little bit of Manx infantry going on right here. Yeah, as you can see, right, look how tanky this unit is right now, and I'm basically just giving Deejus this tile right here. So a little bit annoying. Was not happy about this, but hey, like, you'll learn something every day, right? However, I do build a battlecopter, and this battlecopter is within striking range of the CO unit, so Deejus has to be very careful here. But let's see what he decides to do here. So again, moving in with some infantry. Getting some pretty good... Yeah, I overextended with my infantry here. I don't know why I keep doing this against Deejus, man. So you can see how terrifyingly strong Tabita's CO unit is. 2 tanks strikes it. 2 tanks strikes it and it doesn't die. One of them being a CO unit. So you can see she is absolutely terrifying. However, Deejus has reduced my CO unit to 2 HP here. And at this point, I remember sending him a message asking him if I sack my own CO unit, can I load another CO unit right into another unit on the same turn? And Deejus informed me, no, you cannot. Because my strategy right here was to sack this CO unit into Deejus' unit, load Tabita into a battlecopter, and then try to kill a CO unit. But I was informed that this was not doable, so... But yeah, taking some scary engagements here, need to be a little bit more cautious. And of course, Deejus is doing something very smart here. He's positioning his tank on the HQ. And this is very smart. This is something I didn't think about. So if he loses his CO unit, he can instantly reinforce it into this tank on this HQ, because an HQ allows you to board your CO unit in addition to the base. I was not aware of this. Or I didn't think about it that much. So this is something that I should have done too. Anyway, so I used my flare to spot this area. You can see how useful this flare is, just giving me tons of intel. And here, I see an opportunity to kill a CO unit. And I take it. Boom! Kills him with the luck damage. I felt really good about that. I know I'm going to lose my own CO unit now, but at the very least, I took down Deejus' CO unit. The problem is, Deejus already has a backup plan. He has this tank right here, which he can reinforce Calder into immediately at the start of his next turn. So it's going to hurt me a lot more than it hurts him. Of course, whenever you board your CO unit into a unit, it costs 50% of the unit. So it's going to cost him 3,500 to board a CO in. So killing off a CO unit is also good for you economically. But I felt pretty good about this turn, even though I know I'm going to lose my own CO unit. At least I took down his, but I'm already preparing with a medium tank right here. In Days of Ruin, you have a different different tier of tanks. You have tanks, medium tanks, war tanks. So that's kind of like, it functions more similarly to Super Famicom Wars, where you have light tanks, medium tanks, and heavy tanks. So medium tanks are kind of like a weird... I would say it's similar to the medium tank of Advanced Wars 2, but not completely. It's a little weaker. It's a little weaker than the medium tank of Advanced Wars 2. other tanks can fight sort of decently against it. I mean, I can show you the calculations by clicking. This is another amazing feature of the site right here. So as you can see right here, you can see the damage values of the medium tank. It deals, okay, it's 70% damage to tanks. I mean, I guess it is comparable to a medium tank, actually, in its damage values. So it deals, yeah, actually, now that I think about it, it actually does comparable damage to the medium tank of Advanced Wars. But you also have, I don't know if I can check it, but you also have these war tanks right here. I don't know if I can click on them. Yeah, if I do this, maybe. Yeah, you can scroll down here. So you have the war tanks here. I don't know if you can see it. It might be, at top of it, I might be covering it a little bit, but war tanks are pretty scary. They're kind of like, they're not mega tank tier, but they do comparable damage to Nia tanks, but they're a lot slower. All right, I'm being a little bit reckless here, trying to capture the city. It's not really going to work. All right, let's see what Deejus decides to do. So again, loads the CO immediately, and that Antire is rank 2 right now, so it gets a 10% firepower bonus. But he's being very reckless with the CO unit right here, moving it in. But he is utilizing his CO zone very well, so... But yeah, he's killing a lot of my units. The flare is also dangerously low on ammo. And again, you can see how he always... And this was the big difference between me and Deejus in this match, is that he really took advantage of this HQ right here. Like, already, he has a backup unit for his CO unit. So, that's something that I noticed. It doesn't really matter if I kill his tank, because he just keeps reinforcing new units into it on the same turn. So, the HQ positionings on this map's very crucial. Anyway, my turn rolls in. I move the 1 infantry into the mountain. I don't really know why. I'm not going to get this. But, here we go. My medium tank has arrived on the scene right now. And this thing is absolutely terrifying. This thing will one-shot pretty much any vehicle that it goes up against. Because again, this is a medium tank with an 80% firepower increase. 85% technically if you count the comm tower, but Deejus has a comm tower too, so they cancel each other out. So this medium tank is terrifying. Now, I don't think it actually displays its updated damage values. I don't think so. 85, no, it doesn't. It sadly doesn't display its updated attack values. That's something that I would have really liked. But needless to say, deals a lot of freaking damage. Okay, a lot of freaking damage. So I remember at this point, he just sent me a message. He was like, medium tank, Tabata medium tank, rip. So he doesn't really have a response to that. He does have an artillery on the way, though, so there's that. And battlecopters are also very good against medium tanks, so... But right now, Deejus is starting to pressure my properties on the right. He's also threatening my comm tower, which I really don't like. And he's being very ballsy with his CO zone. Moving his CO like actually into the range of my medium tank, which I found interesting, but he knows he can get another one very easily. But right here, I'm like, okay, all right, I think I can kill your CO unit now. So I use my flare to reveal, my bike to interrupt. And in comes the CO unit. Boom, almost kills it. Battlecopter finishes the job. Another colder unit dealt with. I even get his battlecopter, which I was very happy about. And this time around, I don't actually think Deejus has a... No, he doesn't have a tank on his HQ. So he doesn't actually have a way to reinforce in a CO unit this time around. But yes, I felt very good about this turn. This tank is just terrifying right now. And again, like, see here. Keeping this flare on this HQ is actually a bit of a mistake. Yes, it allows it to scout very easily, but I should have kept it here instead. Because, as you can see, I would have really benefited from having this tank on this HQ so I could put my CO unit into it whenever I get around to losing this one, which is probably going to happen soon. So, bringing in my bike as well, pulling back my infantry, and let's see what Deejus decides to do right now. So, yeah, I do believe he baits me at some point. Yeah, kills my battlecopter, has a veteran Antire right now, 20% firepower and defense, and he's gonna, yeah, he's bringing in his battlecopter here as well. I need an Antire here ASAP. And now he's bringing in a flare of his own, which is pretty smart. And kills my Antire as well. Well played. Yeah, this is the bait, I believe. No, not yet. He's gonna bait me next turn. So, yeah, he's pretty much just giving me a free Antire here for my CO unit. I think this was pretty much intentional. I do have to kill it if I want my battlecopter to not die. So, I scout out with a flare just to make sure there's no units hidden here. I also... Did I not scout out the comm tower? I guess I did not. But boom. So I've killed 3 units now, I think, with this, no, 2 units, and I still haven't expanded my zone. I don't know how many units you have to kill to get a CO zone of 1. But once that happens with Tabata, that's a big deal, because that essentially means you can make other units get 60% firepower and defense too, which is bonkers. Now, if you happen to actually get Tabata's superpower, it's I didn't talk about this, but it's effectively meteor strike. You give 60% offense and defense globally to your entire army for a turn, which is insane. And then you deal 8 HP of damage. It is a meteor. I think it works exactly like the meteor. It just has a different graphic to it. So you really don't want to let Tabata get her power. That is scary. So here, yeah, I'm trying to take these 2 cities. I don't really think it's going to work though. And yeah, here I move straight into the range of an artillery. I didn't realize there was an artillery here. Build an anti-air to deal with the battlecopter, as well as another bike and another battlecopter. Let's see what Deejus decides to do. Where does he load his CO unit in, I wonder? Does he load it into the artillery? No, he's playing a little bit more defensively this turn. I'm really upset though. Yeah, and yeah, there we go. I think that's, is that a medium tank? Yeah, so he loaded Calder into a medium tank, and he has an anti-tank and an artillery. Anti-tank is a brand new unit introduced to Days of Ruin. It's a very strong unit that deals a lot of damage to tanks. So Deejus building an anti-tank to kill my CO unit, that was pretty smart. And here you'll see the bait, ladies and gentlemen. He's putting in some fresh bait for me here. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. So he's presenting himself a very juicy 2 HP tank right here. I don't see his anti-tank at this point. I see his flare. Wait a minute. All right, yeah. Battlecopters only have 2 vision? Oh, wow. Do they only have 2 vision in Days of Ruin? Yeah, they do! Oh my god! Yes, this, you see, there's tons of little changes to Days of Ruin that you have to be careful about. Like battlecopters only having 2 vision. They have 3 vision in Advanced Wars too. So tons of little changes like that can really impact how a battle is fought. Because if I had 3 visions, I still wouldn't have seen this, but still. So yeah, here I'm like, Deejus is presenting a lovely rank 2 tank right in front of Tabata right here. Of course, I don't see the trap that he's laid out for me. If the flare was a little bit further, like my flare is out of position right here. It's not doing shit over here. My flare should have been over here at this point and scouted this area. And if I had done that, I wouldn't have taken the bait. Instead, I take the bait, and I'm still not getting the expanded. This is my 3rd unit. I'm still not getting the expanded CO zone. And I even join cap my bike in here. Yeah, this is not good. This is not good. I'm moving my anti-air, hiding it on the harbor. I have to interrupt these captures here somehow. I move my battlecopter away to try and prevent these caps. But of course, I walked headfirst into the weeds with the Deej. And at this point, I'm going to lose a medium tank, which is really... He uses his flare to scout. That's hilarious. So yeah, you can do that with a flare, by the way. They actually deal decent damage to infantry units. So instead of shooting it, he actually uses it to interrupt, which is pretty smart. But boom, yeah, lose my CO unit. As you can see, I don't really have a good unit to load my CO unit into at this point. So yeah, that was pretty much the coup de grace, as I like to say. That was a pretty bad turn for me, let's just put it that way. And I don't have a backup right now. So what I do is I load my CO unit into my anti-tank, thinking that maybe I can use it to kill a couple tanks. But anti-tank and ranged units, unless you play Gauge, I don't really think it's a good idea to load your unit into... Maybe like a rocket can work. Like you loading Tabata into a rocket and trying to get kills with it that way, it could work. But at this point, I think the fact that I have an anti-tank CO unit, it just won't work anymore. And now Deejus is pressing on the left side here, moving toward... It just brazenly places himself on my city. And now he's going in for the kill. Even does damage to my anti-air here, which is not great. So yeah, and I also didn't realize at the time that Calder's HCO zone repairs his own units. So here, if I remember correctly, I actually goes in with my battlecopter to damage his CO unit a little bit. Goes in with my anti-air first, reveals with my flare. And then I attack him here, and then I see the anti-air, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I am screwed. I am absolutely screwed. But I didn't realize that he repaired himself. I thought only he repaired units around himself. So I was like, at least I can damage him a little bit so that it might be easier to kill him off next turn. But then Deejus' turn rolls in, and I'm like, Yeah, okay, he actually just heals his own CO unit, which I should have known that, but I didn't. So, at this point, the rest of the game is mostly a formality. I think we end up playing for 2 more turns. But, yeah, Deejus is moving in for the kill here, and I realize I've lost. So, a tough match. I do believe I resign here. Yeah, I do. So, fun match, though. Had a lot of fun. Deejus is a terrifying opponent, though. Not really the person you want to have your first competitive match against, but I learned a lot, and this was a lot of fun, honestly. So, yeah. Wish there was some, like, nice, soothing victory music playing at the end of the match. That'd be kind of nice. But I guess I can go back to the lobby. So, yeah. Really, really good site, this. Like, I love this site. This site is really well made. Props to whoever designed it. I wish Advanced Wars by Web would get an upgrade like this. That would be amazing. So yeah, if you guys want to go check out Tiny Wars, I mean, you see my ID up in the top left screen. Feel free to challenge me to a match if you want to. Add me as a friend. I don't know how to do it, but I'm sure you can. And yeah, let me know if there's any, like, if you're a competitive Days of Ruin player and you play this game regularly, I'd love to get some advice from you in the comment section. Just tell me, like, what did I do wrong? What could I have done better? Did I build any weird units? Like, I don't know anything about the Days of Ruin metagame aside from the few bits I've seen on Deejus' channel. So I have a lot to learn, but I am eager to get better at this game because this is a lot of fun. It's a very, very well-designed game, actually. A really well-designed game. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys next time. Have fun. Take care. Bye-bye. Banks out.